What happens when I have too many apples on hand? I make apple cobbler. And I made so much of this stuff that you get a cobbler, she gets a cobbler, everybody gets a cobbler. And now I'm going to show you how I made the cobbler. So let's get started. I'm going to start off at my stovetop, and here I have my Dutch oven. I'm going to add in my granulated sugar as well as brown sugar. And now I'm going to get rid of all the lumps, or as many lumps as possible. Next, we're going to sprinkle in a combination of ground nutmeg and ground cinnamon. And now I'm going to start adding in some all-purpose flour, and that's going to work as my thickening agent. Give everything a stir, make sure it's well combined. And now I'm going to start pouring in some water. Once everything is in there, or almost everything, we're going to give everything a nice stir. And last but not least, I'm going to pour in some vanilla extract. So once that's in there, I'm going to turn my heat up to high and bring this to a boil. And now I'm going to work with my apples. I'm using Granny Smith apples. They're already washed and cleaned. And now I'm going to peel the apples as well as chop them. And you want to make sure you get rid of as much skin as possible. And of course, when you chop them, you want to make sure you don't have any seeds in there. So once the apples are chopped, I'm going to toss the apples into this big bowl here. And then I'm going to pour some lemon juice all over the apples. And that's going to help add flavor, and it's also going to prevent my apples from browning. So once this comes to a boil, you're going to turn the heat down from high to medium. And look at it. Doesn't it look like caramel? It is so good. It's so flavorful. I love this. This is like my favorite cobbler for apples, apple cobbler recipe. So now I'm going to start tossing in my apple wedges. And again, the heat is on medium at this time. And you want to make sure you get all of the apples in there and make sure that they're nicely covered with the sugar and water mixture there. So now we are going to just let the apples cook until they soften up a bit, but you do want them to still have a little crisp to them, so don't overcook it. It should look like this. And now I'm going to let this cool down. FYI, this is freezable. You can certainly freeze the filling. So I'm going to show you how to do it. You just let your filling cool down, then you place them into your freezer bags. Make sure you label them, and you know what? You can have this in the freezer for up to 6 months. So if you want to freeze some of this and use it around the holidays, you sure can. For my cobbler, I'm going to be using some store-bought crust. And this is Pillsbury. I know someone's going to ask me what brand it is, but you can use a different brand if you choose. I'm going to just tidy up my crust, but I'm not going to throw away the excess that I just tossed to the side. I'm going to be using that. With the second crust, I'm going to be using my little cookie cutters. I have some fall-shaped cookie cutters that I will be using. You don't have to use cookie cutters. You can just cut this and do it like a lattice, or cut them in squares. It really doesn't matter. It's pretty much up to you. It's your cobbler. I want you to do what you want to do. However, you will need to cut some of it up because we're going to be making some dumplings to go into this cobbler. So for half of my little leaf, or should I say batch of leaves, I'm going to toss them into the oven. I'm going to toast them until they're nice and golden brown like this. Even though it didn't look golden brown, I assure you that it was. And now we're going to pour some of our cobbler filling at the bottom of our pie dish or crust. And now we're going to start tossing in our toasted crust on top of that. And this is going to, again, it's going to add like a nice little dumpling effect to your cobbler. You're going to have dumplings throughout the cobbler. Next, I'm going to grab the remaining of my apple cobbler filling, and I'm going to pour it on top of our cooked crust. And then I'm going to take a kitchen utensil and I'm going to pretty much just flatten out the surface just like so. So once we're done with that step, we are going to grab our uncooked pie crust or the pie dough, and then we are going to just start tossing it on top. And again, you don't have to do this. You can just leave it in whole if you want, but you will have to get some additional crust to add in the middle. So I'm just going to go around until there's no more room, and now I'm ready to bake my cobbler. I'm going to bake it in the oven on 350 Fahrenheit for about 25 minutes. And when it comes out, this was my finished look. It was so good, and I promise you, it tastes even better than it looks. Please give this recipe a try. Tell me what you think. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and visit me every Sunday and Wednesdays here on my YouTube channel for new video uploads.